Number 12, Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Energy and asks, does he agree with the OECD, which recommends the removal of tax concessions for petroleum exploration? If not, why not?
Mr. Honourable Speaker, Simon Bridges.
No, I don't. To the best of my, I don't believe that the OECD gives sufficient weight to the challenge of developing New Zealand's petroleum resources, or to this government's commitment to ensuring that we receive a fair return from petroleum resources. And for the record, I'm not aware of another industry in New Zealand that contributes as much of its profits as a proportion to the Crown, 42 cents in every dollar, $700 to $800 million a year. That's something we should celebrate.
Speaker,
supplementary question. Gareth Hughes.
How is it that the government can find over $46 million in support for an already wealthy industry to extract more fossil fuels to lead to more pollution, and it can only muster $1.9 million to feed our poorest kids breakfast?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr. Speaker, the amount the member talks about is exceptionally small in comparison with the $700 to $800 million per annum we currently receive in taxes and royalties. As I say, I'd like the member to see if he can think of another industry that delivers that sort of money as a proportion of its profits to the taxpayers' coffers.
Tree.
Order. 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 Supplementary question. Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So what is the Minister's rationale for supporting tax breaks for the profitable petroleum sector and not similar tax break for maybe like the clean energy industry, which international studies show have got 4 times the job creating potential, and even agencies like PricewaterhouseCoopers say could be a potential $22 billion industry for New Zealand?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
Speaker, well, there's no rush, and I can tell the member that when we met with the head economist of the International Energy Agency last week, the premier energy agency in the world, first thing he said was to congratulate us for being world leaders when it comes to fossil fuel subsidy reform, and we are world leaders in that area.
Supplementary question to Aurora Flavel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Kia ora tātou. To the Minister, is he aware that Ngāti Kahungunu wrote to the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment in January 2013 supporting the recommendations made by the Waitangi Tribunal relating to petroleum management regime? And if so, what efforts will he make to follow their call for adequate communication standards to be enforced by the Crown between petroleum companies and iwi and hapu?
Mr. Speaker,
Honourable Simon Bridges.
I am aware of that letter. Indeed, I've met with that iwi a couple of times in the Hawke's Bay in relation to issues they have in relation to the sector. I can tell the member that when we reformed the Crown Minerals Act earlier this year, we formalised consultation processes between Crown and iwi, indeed between iwi and industry, and now it's the case that industry, in relation to Tier 1 permits at least, must supply annual reports to the government on their engagement with iwi or hapu whose rohe intersects the area of the permit or who otherwise may be directly affected by the Crown. Of course, what's also true is this is an industry that can deliver great gains and jobs for Māori in places like Northland, the East Coast, and then bring them home from places like West Australia and Queensland. And so I think the benefits from this industry can be felt disproportionately and favourably for Māori and iwi.
Supplementary question. Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In regards to the last answer, does the Minister want New Zealand to walk the walk on international fossil fuel subsidies? And will he recommend the removal of all tax breaks for petroleum exploration, given that the OECD says they counteract New Zealand's efforts to address global climate change and distort investment decisions away from more sustainable sources of growth?
Honourable Simon
Mr.
Bridges.
Speaker, we walk the walk, we talk the talk. In a world where there are hundreds and hundreds, probably trillions of dollars of subsidies for fossil fuels, the fact of the matter is we are one of the cleanest, greenest little countries in the world.
Order. I've received a letter from Claire Curran seeking to debate under Standing Order 386 the report of the independent review of the Ministry of Social Development's Information Systems Security. The release of the report is a particular case of recent occurrence involving ministerial responsibility. The review identified a small number of potential vulnerabilities and that the level of security management was lower than would be expected. The vulnerabilities are being looked into. However, there is no evidence they have led to another privacy breach. The review considered only publicly accessible systems provided by government agencies, and further wider reviews are now likely. A work program is underway to ensure improvements are made as a matter of priority. The issue of public trust in government agencies' ability to handle private information appropriately is increasingly important. But given the ongoing nature of the government's response, I am not convinced that there is the element of urgency necessary to justify setting aside the business of the House today, when the budget debate provides another means of discussing the matter. The application is therefore declined. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Estimates Bill, adjourned